Welcome to United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America on WSGW. Now, here is your host, Kareem Bowen.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of United Shades of Gray, Conversations of Race in America. I am so glad to be in the house on today. And those of you who are watching via our social media platforms, you will see that I have two distinguished gentlemen on the other side of the table with me. One of those individuals may resemble some guy that used to be here a long time ago. Let's give a shout out to my guy, Mark Bassett. He is back home.
Hey,
Mark,
now,
how you doing?
it's great to be back. I've been on the road so much the last 2 months. It's really nice to be back in town through the end of the year.
Yeah, so it's good to have you. We've been missing you around here. Jonathan and I have just been kind of like hanging out, looking at the wall, looking at our clocks, waiting for time to pass. So, Mark, why don't you give us a little insight before we get to the other guy that's in the stream? Why don't you give us a little insight? What's been going on with you as with your travels? Gulliver's Travels.
I can't remember the last time I was here. I think it was when I came back from Hawaii, but I had been to California and then Hawaii. Came back. I then drove out to Kansas City. My youngest son.
Going to Kansas City.
My youngest son is changing his career, so we drove out to Kansas City, loaded his stuff into our third car, a minivan. And
wait a minute, Mark. Yeah. You got a minivan?
We have a minivan. My wife refused to get rid of the minivan, and she was right, because we have it to move stuff, and when we have kids coming into town, we have a third car for the kids. So but I don't like driving the minivan. She suggested that maybe I should take the minivan to Florida or California. I said, absolutely not. I'm not driving this minivan around. It's embarrassing. So, but anyway, we drove our son from Kansas City back to Midland with his stuff. We then flew to Boston for 9 days and visited with some kids, flew back, then drove the minivan to DC and spent the last week in DC visiting with that son. I have another son that lives in the DC area with his wife, and then my parents who are getting up there in age. So we needed to do some things to help my parents kind of out as well. So,
all right. Well, so that's good to hear, Mark. I'm so glad to have you back. Before we came on air, I was asking, so do we still have a footprint in California? So we're moving from the West Coast and we're going to the sunny skies of the Florida Southeast.
Yes. So this winter we're gearing up to try out Southern Florida. We're going to be right near Palm Beach, Singer Island, which is the island right above Palm Beach.
So exciting. So Jonathan and I, we live vicariously through your travels. We appreciate it. And this year or this time around, Mark, I'm going to make my way down to Florida.
I've heard that before. I'll believe it when I see it. When I pick you up at the airport, I'll believe it.
All right. Get ready to believe. All right. Also in the stream, there is another gentleman that's in the stream. He's well dressed. I'm going to ask him just to lean. You're going to be right in there between that 8 to 12 inches away from that microphone. And his name is, y'all ready? Kabanu with a spoon. Nuts. I'm just joking. Kabanu with a spoon. How are you doing, Cobb?
I'm good. How everybody doing? First time being here. Excited.
Okay. Cobb is one of my students from Saginaw Valley who has recently graduated. He's embarking upon a professional career. Cobb, what exactly are you planning, your ultimate plans to do?
Ultimate goal is to become a defense attorney. But right now I'm getting my master's and then applying for law school starting next summer after the LSATs. So wish me some luck.
What are you getting your master's in? And where?
Public administration. Saginaw Valley University.
Saginaw Valley State.
Yep.
Where are you from originally?
Philadelphia.
Oh, you big Eagles fan or?
Huge Eagles fan.
All right. And Allen Iverson as well?
I'm not really a basketball Philly fanatic. I'm more of a LeBron fan. So.
All right. Okay.
He didn't even say a basketball fan. He was a LeBron fan.
Yeah.
Okay, he's a man fan. Okay, you're a LeBron fan. I got you. All right, but from North Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground. That's where he spent most of his days. You know this, Mark. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I never watched that show, actually.
Never?
What?
Never seen a single episode of the Fresh Prince. That was when did that was like in the 90s?
Yeah.
I was like had young kids and everything. So
you know the premise of the show.
I know the premise of the show. Will Smith comes from the ghettos, I think, West Philadelphia, right. Comes out to Beverly Hills with the nerdy rich guy.
It's Carlton, all right?
Carlton, that's right.
And I'm sensitive about that because people always say, you look just like Carlton. So I was Carlton from Carlton when I got to school. Yeah, so that's the premise.
I know the premise.
So he is from North Philly. So,
okay. How did you end up at Saginaw Valley State?
So originally, I started my college career at Malone University.
Your college career. Your college career.
Okay, I started my college career at the University of Malone,
Where's that?
Canton, Ohio.
Okay.
So where the NFL Hall of Fame is.
Yep.
So I started there for 2 years and then transferred over to SV
Okay.
for track and field.
So so you're a track athlete.
Yeah, I also run track and
So
field.
kind of like
I'm
Frank,
retired now,
right?
so.
Frank was
He was a jumper.
okay.
He's an
He didn't
athlete.
do
Frank
much.
was a
Okay.
jumper.
Yeah.
He is an athlete. He
Were
actually
you
runs.
a sprinter then? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What event did you run?
Ran the 100, 200, and 4x4.
Oh wow, 4x100.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so he's an athlete,
Yeah.
bona fide.
All right.
So if Frank happens to listen to this, Mark,
Yeah.
you know he's going to be shooting arrows at both of us, right?
Yeah. That's
But-
all right. I didn't say anything bad about Frank. You did. You called him he was not athletic. So
I said he's a jumper
okay.
and he's an
I
athlete.
can't. Frank never could run. Probably
Okay.
still can.
So you
Okay.
guys are probably wondering who Frank is. We're gonna have to bring Frank in because
Yeah.
now he's sitting there probably heart
Chomping at the bit.
is hurting because we're
Yeah.
sitting here having these conversations about him. But we are here today, and earlier today I had the opportunity to spend some time with my producer John B in the place to be, and we were having conversations. Mark, I know that you are a Halloween guy, and we're going to talk about what are you going to not Halloween but a Christmas
Guy. Yeah.
You're a Christmas guy. Where are you on the Halloween spectrum?
I don't care that much about Halloween. I do have though, which I've curated over the last few years, a small Halloween
Oh my God.
decoration collection.
No,
Again, but only one room, not the whole house, and it's not going to grow anymore, or at least very little. And it's again very specific to mid-century period.
all right. So, Mark, I don't know. You and your themed rooms here.
Yes.
So what does it look like at your home? Are there decorations up? Are
Yeah,
there
a few. Like
pumpkins
again,
and-
in one room, it's basically all Halloween stuff. So like Halloween art, and most of it is
what's Halloween art? Like Frankenstein and Elvira framed in a
no.
picture
Most
on the
of
wall?
it is like one was a big advertising piece for the company that
Okay.
made Butterfinger and Mars. So it's kind of a bunch of kids
Okay.
at the door doing trick or treating. The rest of it actually is. You remember those like really thin crepe paper type tablecloths that they would
Yes.
have for most of the other art on the wall, or some of those tablecloths cut out with the images and just framed because they're kind of fun, cute images of little kids again trick or treating or things like that.
All right. So the reason I'm having this conversation with
Yeah.
Mark is because, and those of you who have been with us on this journey, you know, Mark is Mr. Christmas. Like when they show the holiday Christmas, there's probably a picture with him next to Santa,
Yep.
and you have to decide which one is more Christmas
Yep.
than the other. So I was wondering, Mark, as well. So when do we transition from? So after this Halloween,
Yep.
what happens next?
I will begin the staging of my Christmas stuff, and so I can take my time. Normally, the last 2 years, because I was in California until mid-November,
Yeah.
I was scrambling to put my Christmas stuff up, and takes about 2 weeks or so, with a full-blown sprint of putting stuff up.
Is it
And
like a community competition?
no, it's just my house. Kareem's been to it.
It's a community
I have a-
competition inside his house.
I have a 4-story house and then a garage.
Yeah.
And 3 of the stories and the garage are 100% Christmas decoration. So any decoration
Everything.
that's not Christmas,
And you put up everything by
I
yourself.
put up everything by myself. I curate everything by
No,
myself.
hold on. Let's
Yeah.
be clear, Mark.
Yeah.
You're not just putting up Christmas decor. You're changing the artwork on
On
the wall.
Yeah, it's different levels to it.
Yeah, he's changing the rugs on the floor.
The rug on the floor, everything in the shelves, the
covers
plates,
on lights.
the plates that we use to eat off of, everything.
So
Yeah.
it is truly. When you told me this, I was like, okay, it's not that much. When
Yeah.
I came in, I'm like, Mark, like this is like the
It's a
painting.
museum.
It
It's
is.
a-
It
it's
is
a
truly a
museum.
Christmas museum.
It is.
And then and it's not like everything is you have like stuff that is stacked on top of stuff. Go to your lower level, your basement, and you got
could be
the
down there
abominable
hours.
snowman and
Yeah.
something that I remember from like a 1975 Christmas commercial.
Yeah.
It is absolutely amazing. It is fun, and I tell you all the time, I think that you could really, for Christmas enthusiasts, and they're out there,
Oh yeah.
really
there's
make money for a charity.
That's what I've thought about. I just have never gotten the momentum to do it because again, I've been out of town so much.
Yeah.
I'd love to have dedicate that season to a charity. I'd love to get like the Charleston Daily Mail to kind of do an article on it,
You could easily do
or not the
that.
Charleston, the Midland Daily News
Right.
or whatever it's called.
Is is this the one that is not the satire, but this is the real?
The real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
How long is the cleanup?
it's easier to put away than to put out. It
Really?
takes about a week or a week and a half to put it away.
You don't understand. So it is when you look at this stuff, it is every tree has a million ornaments like they do,
And there's more than
in
one
the stores.
tree.
And
There's like 7 trees.
there's trees
There's
all
7
over the place.
trees.
Yes, trees all over the place. Then there's figurines, and he has them. You can tell, Mark, that you didn't just throw those things on
No, I've
on the
curated it,
mantles
yeah.
throughout the
No,
house,
it's really curated.
on tables and things. And
Yeah.
so it is a work of art. And if you're out there and you guys are one, I think like Boys and Girls Club or something,
Yeah.
you could adopt, or the help organization.
Yeah.
You could adopt. You could adopt.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. You could adopt an organization.
Well, let's work on it, Kareem. Let's work on
Well,
it.
hey, I'm up for it.
I love to show my house
Absolutely.
at Christmas because number one, it brings me joy. These things bring me joy. But the biggest joy I get actually is when people come through and they go, you know what? My mom had that. Or I remember
Yeah.
my grandmother had that.
Yeah.
And everyone, if they leave with a smile, it makes me even happier.
I know our kids will love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
so,
we should organize it, man.
man, it is amazing.
Yeah.
You have one particular thing, and we're going to move forward. But you have one particular thing that when I saw it, I was like, my grandmother used to have that.
Yeah.
My grandmother has since gone on to be with the Lord. But it was it's a plastic Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And it looked like it could have been like a table mat.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of raised, but you see the little holes. I'm not sure what it's made out of, but you see the design of Santa in there.
Yeah.
And it was just, when I saw that, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
It took me back. Like, you want to talk about having an experience that really rekindles the flame of what Christmas was like as a kid. Going through your house, seeing all of the pieces of artwork and cards and figurines, and it was just like, even like you had
there's crazy stuff. Like there's Christmas toilet paper. I have a roll of Christmas toilet paper. There's Christmas matchbooks, which are quite interesting because if you open them up, the matches have a piece of art on them, like a Santa or a tree. I mean, and there was again Scotch tape in another company called Texel. Used to make tape where the tape had Christmas designs on it. Yeah, so it's really quite interesting.
Super duper. So you guys stay tuned. We're gonna work something out, and we're gonna raise money for a good cause. I'm pointing to myself for those of you who see me on the social media stream. You might not hear it.
Not Kareem himself.
Not me himself, but the causes that I work with. I think it'll be great.
Yeah.
So, Mark, speaking of causes, what are you thinking? And I don't know. I know you're over politics.
Yeah.
But what are you thinking in terms of, even though you try to remove yourself away, you cannot miss the things that are going on right now. And we're going to start where we are today and kind of work our way backwards. We're facing a deadline that's looming on the termination of SNAP benefits. So when you see all of this, what's going on in your mind?
To me, it's just a continuation of what's been going on, and just it becomes harder and harder for me to understand how anyone can continue to support, frankly, Donald Trump. And as we've talked about it before, Donald Trump is who he is. To me, frankly, the bigger disappointment is our elected Congress people and senators that have refused, basically have just fallen in line and are doing, in essence, whatever he wants for fear of losing their job. And so we really don't have, in essence, 3 branches of government anymore. You know, you have Trump, and then and then you have the theoretically the legal system, but he's again trying to, in every case, push the boundaries of what has historically been how we operated.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think all things come and go.
Yeah.
I just don't think history will be kind to him or the Republicans who have kind of allowed him to continue to go down this path.
Let me ask this question, Mark, because we're now hearing, okay, there's not going to be an end. There's a 2028 run.
Well, except Mike Johnson's now come out and said, which is an interesting.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I did.
So
see
he
that.
Doesn't see how that could happen
because we have a constitution.
We have now. I guess and I don't know all the rules, but just as an amendment is passed, it can be rescinded, or a new amendment can be passed. Who knows? I think it'll be interesting to see how a lot of what I'll call more central Republicans who have kind of held their nose to Donald Trump because they just would refuse to vote for, in essence, Kamala Harris.
But how long are they going to hold their
Well,
breath?
that's my question.
You're going to pass out at some point.
Yeah, at some point, I think enough will be enough, and that's why I just think
What
all
is that?
these things have.
I hate that Jonathan isn't on the mic. With
Yeah,
us, 'cause
I think all of these things have a phase or a period. Like McCarthyism was here for a while in the 50s. Careers were ruined, but eventually that passed. You know, you have the John Burt. So I have these things. There's a pendulum to history, and it tends to swing. It's swung really far one way right now.
Yeah.
And at some point, I think it'll swing back. I think the Democrats, again, if I'm a Democrat, I'm just looking in my mirror and go, how did we lose to this guy multiple times? If they could find a real centrist, center-left Democratic candidate that was good, they would have run away with an election against Donald Trump in 2024.
Okay, so
Can I interject here?
Absolutely, you can.
All right,
Please.
so I think the main issue here with the Republican in the House and in the Senate is mainly because, so going back to Donald Trump's first term, right? When he first ran, he went against the people. He went against his party. He threatened to even run as an independent if he wasn't chosen during the primaries. So he went against them and he won, right? They came together and they took him down. He got charges after his first term. He was in court dealing with legal issues and all those things that happened. But then he came back. So now I think it's a certain fear factor within the House and the Senate where they don't want to go against them, because how can you go through all that
and come back?
So now there's no real leadership within the Republican Party, right? There's no real leader.
There is real leadership.
It's
called Donald Trump.
That's apart from Donald Trump, outside of Donald Trump, there's no real leadership. No person who can say, all right, this person is going to be our bell cow following.
I don't know if I agree with that statement.
Which part?
That there's no real leadership in the Republican Party. I think that there is real leadership, but I think, and I think this is to a point, I think, Mark, we were speaking about before. I think that there is leadership, but I think that Donald Trump is doing what a lot of that leadership has a desire to see happen. And so I think that's one of the reasons I think that people are silent, because at the end of this, we got to get back to governing. There has to be a resurgence of somewhat of the Republican Party. And so I think that because they can use him as a tool to do some of the things that they would not necessarily, as the Republican Party, want to be responsible for.
Okay, so when you say he's basically toting their load and what they want to carry out, well, that's not leadership. I think you're speaking more to the divide within the party, because now
is there a divide in the party?
I think there's a major divide in the party. I think there's Republicans who's leaning more left than they're supposed to be leaning right, and vice versa.
Okay, so
I think those people are largely. I mean, you have the Lincoln like whatever they're called, but they're at this point, I think they're relatively a minority. I mean, I'm a lifelong Republican. I'm a registered Republican.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
I've never supported Donald Trump from 2016 primaries on because of who he is, not because of any policy.
Yeah.
And I think most of those people feel like they're not a part, that the Republican Party is something fundamentally different than what they joined.
Yeah.
And they don't feel like they're a part of the Republican Party anymore. I mean, people like, J.D. Vance and the guy in Rubio, Marco Rubio, who basically called Trump a con man, all these things.
One called him Hitler, a Nazi or something.
Right. Back in 2016.
Yeah.
The fact that they're, to me, it's just.
And they're all falling in line now.
What tells me why is an example of why most people don't really like politicians.
Right.
Because I think in their heart of hearts, that's what they really view him as.
Yeah.
But because they know he's in power and it will enable their future success potentially, they've lined up behind him, even though I think in their heart of hearts, they think those things.
I do want to ask this question, though, Mark. I don't know if you've caught any of and this is not necessarily political, but it's discussing politics. Former Vice President Kamala Harris she's been on her book tour.
Yeah.
The book is coming. The book is out. Have you heard some of the conversations surrounding that?
Very little, other than she's kind of thrown Joe Biden under the bus.
Yeah.
And probably in an effort to boost her potential political future. I just think her political future is over.
I think that she has a role to play in the party.
Okay.
I think that I said this at the very beginning before this. I said, I don't see black men voting for her. Do you remember me saying this?
Yep.
And I don't see really white women voting for this because I think that they are not consistent with what exists in terms of how those our parties will operate.
Yep.
And so, and I told people, and they believe, I'm like, black men are not going to vote for a black woman. A lot of black men did, but I knew that there was a sentiment that many blacks had that they would not vote for a black woman, and I hate that's its situation. And I think that when many white women got into the voting booth, they voted their interest of their husbands and stayed consistent in the family unit.
Well, I think ultimately, no one. I guess you could go interview people.
Right.
I mean, the whole Democratic, Biden's in, now he's senile, now he's out. Kamala Harris.
That was a lot to
coming
do with it.
in. I agree with everything he did. No changes. It was just a disastrous campaign. She really had no chance.
I won't say that. I think what was disastrous was the way that she was positioned where she was.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that conversation that they were having around this book, and we're going to come up on our first commercial break really quickly, but a lot of the conversation that they've been having around her and what she's been saying is that, like, do you think Joe Biden hurt your chances of being elected? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was due to what you were saying. They kept him he stated he was only supposed to be a one-term president, right? And then he decided, I'm the only one that can beat, what's his name again? Oh, Donald Trump. And that was a part of the problem. And to have to then jump in and take the reins when nobody really knows who you are on a national level, it becomes problematic. We're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have more of this conversation with my main man, Mark Bassett, and Kabanu Witherspoon.
You're listening to United Shades of Gray on WSGW.
This is Kareem, and we're back with more United Shades of Gray. I want to give a shout out to all of those people who are continually listening to this show. One person I want to give a great shout out to that's Ryan Labrie. Ryan, thank you for continually tuning in. You have found your home and the things that you love to hear and be a part of. So thank you once again, and welcome to this United Shades of Gray audience. Before the break, we're standing here having a conversation. Mark Bassett is back all the way from his worldwide whirlwind trip. And we have a young man by the name of Kabanu Witherspoon in here with us. Cobb, as a young man who is recently graduated, entering into this workforce, you're off and preparing your future to be a defense attorney. How do you categorize or what is it that you would say concerning your current situation? There's a lot of young people getting ready to go into workforce. How are you feeling about where your potential opportunities lie? Are you afraid? Are you concerned? What are you feeling?
Great question. So I think concern would be the best word to describe it. Not me specifically, but many of my peers in my age group. I think it's a wave on TikTok now where young people are sharing their college degrees, what they earn in college, masters, career like doctorates, engineering majors, people who just come out of college where they can't find a job. There's a girl, for example, on TikTok I watched yesterday. She shared a story where she's an engineering major. She graduated from a good university, and now she works at Chick-fil-A for $18 an hour. So that's a good example of like on a very smaller scale of how there is no jobs available.
Does she get free chicken sandwich for lunch?
I hope she do.
I don't think they do. I was going to say these things tend to cycle. The economy.
Yeah.
I'll be 65 in December, so I'm an old man officially.
December what, Mark?
December 21st.
21st.
Yeah. I graduated from Notre Dame in 1983, degree in chemical engineering. I was second in my class at Notre Dame. The chemical industry was so bad, I had no job offers.
Were you really, Mark?
Uh-huh. And I ended up basically being forced. I had zero interest in going to grad school, but it was really the best option for me. And I was able to apply to grad schools that summer because of my resume, was able to get in. But I mean, the only thing I would say to young people is these things go in cycles, and the economy clearly not doing that well right now. But you just have to hang in there, and at some point it'll turn.
Mark,
So,
I want to ask you specifically that question. We have done a lot of conversations about just kind of leadership and mentorship and those kinds of things. In this current situation that we find ourselves in, with folks graduating, and to Cobb's to point, hey, it's tough out there.
It's tough.
So what advice would you give to someone in terms of how do I, kind of manage this wave, stabilize the storm, just to survive, to get on the other side of what we're dealing with?
Oh, I don't know if I have great advice. I mean, ultimately, you have to you do what you have to do to survive. I mean, ultimately, like, as you know, I went to grad school, I got married, I had 2 kids. We were on WIC checks. I mean, I was on welfare in grad school, and you ultimately do what you have to do to survive. And just, I would basically say, keep marching forward. There's going to be rough times in your life, and you're going to be down, but always get back up. Always try to keep marching forward positively, and try to think about what is it that really motivates you and drives you, and what is it that you find interesting. And if you can identify those things, I always believe that you can find a way to make ends meet if you're doing something you really enjoy doing and are good at.
Yeah.
So I hear that a lot, right? Keep going forward, try to find something to stabilize yourself. I hear that a lot. And I feel like a lot of people around my age group also hear the same thing, right? But I think the point that we're missing is speaking towards the frustration, right?
I understand.
We can't just tell young people you have to keep going. You might have to take this Chick-fil-A job. You might have to take this job at McDonald's, this job at Target or Walmart, but just stay level-headed, stay grounded until you can finally get that next step. Well, what if that next step takes a little longer than what I'm expecting? Because all through high school, I was told, go to college, right? Get a degree.
That's the plan for success.
Get a job.
Yeah.
That's the one plan we've been preached all through our life. So
there are no guarantees.
I think
it may last longer than you'd like it to last. I'll just come back to my story.
Yeah.
And that's fair.
Yeah.
But I think what we need to target more is just trying to help young people with that frustration, instead of just telling them, giving them more directions of what sounds similar to what my teacher said while I was in school.
What do you think what would that look like?
I was going to ask the same question. What does it look like?
What is that?
I think the first step in hearing somebody is letting them know that you heard them, right?
Okay.
So for example, if I'm telling you, okay, I'm frustrated, I went to school, I got the good grades, I have a resume, I went to all the internship and networking programs that I could have got my hands on and got myself into, right? But now I'm in the job field and I can't find a job. I have bills piling up. I'm not living with my parents no more. I'm not on my mom's insurance. I'm past that age now. My insurance is high. I have a bunch of issues, right? I think the first thing I want to hear from an adult, or somebody who's in that age group or at your blessed age, the first thing I want to hear from you is,
hold on. At your
I'm glad I'm blessed.
At your blessed age.
It's a great, the first thing
golden ages.
The first thing he's playing around, but the first thing
at Mark's blessed age, continue, God.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to hear is, you know what? I hear you. I understand. Before I even get any direction or anything, I just want you to empathize and sympathize with my situation and understand that, okay, your frustration is valid. At least validate my feelings before going on to the, you know what, keep going. I also was there, because in that moment, I'm really not looking to hear that you was there in that exact moment. It's not a bad advice. It's not a bad share of experience.
Cobb, okay, we're gonna us baby boomers and Gen X's, we're going to put our arms around you and just kind of bring you in. We understand. I understand what you're saying. I think that we've all experienced those.
I felt I was owed a job.
Yeah. So we've experienced those days.
Owed a job.
When you do the work, you do what's necessary. However, what I would like you and others that are in your generation to know, our desire has always been that the world would be better for those that are behind us. But you're not alone in the fact of having to have experienced tough times. If we would just go back to 2008, it was another period in American history that was a very tough times. You go back to the 80s, it was a very tough time. And I think that the advice that Mark is giving is, it may seem like you're treading water, but even in that process of treading water, there are lessons that you're going to learn. There will be opportunities that have been had. It's not that we're trying to minimize those things, but I think that it appears to me, and it often appears, that these newer generation or these younger generations are a lot more tied to emotionally to where they are into the system instead of really, this is what I want to do. If I'm making any sense, does that make sense? Are you understanding what I'm saying?
Try me again.
Like our emotions are really, we're tied to how we feel as we do this. And for us, it was about like getting out there, getting the work done. So I'm not if I don't feel it, it's not about how I feel. If you can't empathize with how I feel, it's about me getting the work done. And I think that we are moving into a space that we're bringing feelings and how we feel in this space and how and am I being heard and I'm being seen. And I think the real thing is, am I positioning myself to be able to do the work, whatever that looks like? And if I've never felt or heard or seen, get the work done.
Okay. All right. So can I respond to you?
Absolutely.
So I hear you, right? You're speaking on.
Thank you for validating what you heard.
Good example of what I just spoke about, right? So, and I think my generation is more definitely in touch with their emotions. They're more involved with their emotions, any decision making that come in their life, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, I don't think it is, but I think,
and the reason why, let me just get through here, and the reason why I feel that way is because I think it's a breakdown in trust. When I talk about frustration, it's a breakdown in trust because I was told through a high school, middle school, this is what I have to do. I trust the adult. I trust my mom, my parents. Great advice to give me. Go to school, get a degree. I trust every professor that made me write a 10-page paper on things that cannot help me get a job now. I trust that everyone, I got the discipline, right? I got this. I had to eat noodles every day during college, just like you guys probably did. No problem with that, right? I trusted that process. But now I'm in the field. I'm doing everything right. I feel like I follow every direction, every instruction, every advice. They'll make me successful. I follow that path, but now I still can accomplish what's supposed to be there for me after I follow this advice, these instructions. Now it's a trust thing, right? So now when I'm speaking to another adult,
how is it become a trust thing?
It's a trust thing when I'm trusting your word and I'm trusting the directions and like the path laid out for me. After I trust that path and I'm at a certain point where I feel like now it's time for me to harvest my reward. Now I'm supposed to be harvesting and reaping my rewards in tenfolds because I've trusted the advice and everything given to me. So I think that's where the frustration builds up at when I can't reap or harvest those. I can't harvest my crop.
I hear that and I validate that and I understand it.
Thank you.
Yes,
Mark, we are so in touch with one another. I'm loving this.
And I think I understand because I lived that.
Yes.
And as I said, I graduated second in my class from Notre Dame with a chemical engineering degree. I was livid, and because I thought the exact same thing you did. I've done everything you're supposed to do. I am owed a job. The reality is you can follow all the great advice, and it was great advice, but there are no guarantees in life.
Absolutely.
And all you can do is deal with the situation. My advice, for what it's worth, having lived that experience, all you can do is grieve the situation when it's a negative. That's me. Don't worry about it. And accept it, and then try to move on as positively you can, continuing to look for what you're looking for. And what I did at that point was, okay, I'm not going to find a job probably right now because the economy is just so bad.
Yeah.
I have an option to go to grad school, which I had expressly said I have zero desire to go to grad school because I'm done with school. But that's what I did. And the reality is I am thanking God to this day in and day out, that happened to me, because I don't know that I would have ever ended up as a CEO of a company if I had gone to work in a chemical plant.
Wow. That's good. And I think the other thing is, and I'm going to say this to both you and Mark, there's a sense of entitlement that exists there.
See, that's
hold on, let me finish, young man. There's a sense of entitlement, and he's more mature than I am. There's a sense of entitlement that premise gives me, because I think that someone successful, you can do everything that they did exactly the way that they did it. And as you said, Mark, it does not promise your success.
Being in the right place at the right time, being lucky sometimes is what matters.
Success is when preparation meets opportunity, right? And so what I would say to you, and I'm glad you said this, because I think that this is something that an entire generation of young people need to understand. When your family, your parents, your peers were saying, hey, you need to do this, go to school, get this education, that was a guarantee to be able to acquire tools that would make you or give you the ability to create success, right? So it didn't guarantee success, but that you have the tools. And everything that you have done to this point, Cobb, your education, starting it and finish it, it taught you something about being consistent, being focused, starting and finishing things. And those are things that you're going to be able to take no matter what industry or area you go into. So nothing is guaranteed, but look at the tools that you are acquiring, that you have acquired, that really position you when opportunities didn't present them for me. I started my own, I created my own opportunity. And I think that in this nation, we have to really begin to look at what are we teach. Is going to school and getting a job the most important thing, or is teaching an individual how to be their most creative, expressive self and honing those abilities? Which of those are two? And I think that we can teach both of those at the same time.
Okay, just to respond. So listening to you, I heard old, like words like you guys think
Did
you're
you say old?
Not old, but like old something. So
Yeah.
that word that he got from it, entitlement, right? I think the two words that we should be focusing on, expectation and entitlement, right?
Okay.
My path that I listened and I to every advice.
Right.
I went to school. That path is I'm expected to be in a space or a place where I can meet those opportunities. I'm not entitled to those because entitlement can also be that I did nothing to earn this, right? I just expect, or I feel like I have an entitlement to this certain opportunity, but my expectation derives from my time spent in school, my time putting in the work, making myself as a better young man as a whole, creating this good young man, this good profile of myself, so I can be in those spaces. But what happened when those spaces?
So
not
congratulations,
available?
you have that.
Okay, look. So now there's a second part of that situation, right? The spaces is not available to me for me to be in that
Access.
space. Space access is not available to me to be in that space for me to be granted those opportunities. I'm not looking to just get opportunity. I don't feel entitled to get a job because I graduated college. But I do expect to be in a place for those opportunities to be there so I can try to reach those opportunities.
Okay, so I'm going to say something, and I think Mark is going to agree with what I'm going to say. I think that what you're talking about and what you're speaking to is one of the main reasons. Mark has a passion actually for developing and creating opportunities for entrepreneurs and different things to have those spaces. He has a whole thing that he's working on. Have you been working on that actively, Mark?
No.
About what you're speaking to, using the lessons that he's learned and really creating an environment for mentorship and having individuals who have access and they being willing to help you navigate, to empower you with opportunities and open doors of opportunity are very important. A part of our relationship in terms of what we do and how we function has a lot of those elements in it. You are a young man entering to professional spaces, and a part of what I'm going to do is open doors of opportunity and create access for you to use the tools that you have. Half the battle is getting the tools. Mark, what say you?
I 100% agree. And again, I totally understand the frustration, and I understand that you don't feel entitled to something that you've worked really hard to get the skills that you have.
Yeah.
But sometimes there are periods of time where the job market just isn't good. And so unfortunately, the opportunities aren't there for everybody that deserves an opportunity. And that's where you just have to try to work your way through it and continue to look for opportunities. Having connections and people that can help open doors certainly makes it much easier to find those opportunities.
I think that's good. What do you think about what he just said to you?
I think he made a lot of sense. And just to add to that a little bit. So
can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
What is it that you think that you need in this moment to feel as though what you've prepared for is a reality that you can walk in?
Space to meet the opportunity, right? I think I need spaces. I think it needs to be not just space, more opportunities, right? I can go outside and search for $1 million all I want, but there's no chance, an opportunity of me ever getting that $1 million. I'm never going to find it. So
when you say space, do you mean like a job, or what do you mean like I need space?
So for example, like job fairs, right? Okay. Where there's actual jobs where I can go to try to get a job, try to present myself, my resume and whatsoever to get a job, right? So that's the space, not opportunity. It's the job itself,
Right.
right? The job being available or being there so I can achieve that job.
Where do you want some DE and I over here? I'm messing with you.
It's not, but like, it's not.
No, I guess the thing is this. So one of the key things that I would say to you and any other young person who hears this conversation, get off your phone, stop spending as much time in social media places, and make connections. One thing that I see that is being lost in this generation that was integral is that the understanding that people hire and want people to work with them that they like and that they enjoy. The importance of the human connection. I know that Mark also agrees, because this is one of the things that ties us together. We generally like to meet people and find out who people are.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's important for us to not rely so much on social media and other platforms, but to really spend this time connection. In this room right now, there are 3 other individuals with you. So what we need to do when those opportunities present themselves is not only do you introduce yourself to Mark, we already have a connection. You got Jonathan. You speak to them, you make a connection, you find a way to find space into their spaces, and then you ask them, okay, I see who you are. I understand what you're doing. Are there other people that you know that you might be able to introduce me to that have a similar passion or maybe something of value that I might need to connect? It's really about creating opportunity and building relationships. Relationships are things that you will have forever. And it's funny because once you know one individual, if you connect with that individual, they'll remember you when those opportunities come up. Mark?
100% agree. It's way easier to find a job with someone that knows you.
Absolutely.
Than to just send in a resume cold.
Yeah.
So can I
Absolutely
say something?
Go ahead.
So first and foremost, I'm very, very much blessed to be in this space. And I do appreciate and I recognize the great things you guys have accomplished. And unlike me, there are many people, many kids my age, many young adults my age, where they're not at a stage where they can be in these rooms, right? So like you said, get off your phone, get off social media. Nowadays, if I had the stats and the numbers in front of me, social media is providing more of an opportunity for many people my age who know how to use it properly, compared to just the regular networking opportunities, especially because it's always going to be about who you know than just what you know. At most times. So social media is like a bridge between that too. It's not just about who you know, but what you know what to do. Social media is bringing back in my opinion, I feel social media is bringing back the what you know more than who you know aspect of the
really.
Of
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay.
We don't have time to have that discussion.
Yeah,
I think social media is great for certain things.
Absolutely.
But if you're looking for certain types of jobs, social media won't do a thing for you.
Absolutely. So. I think social media is a great way. It provides content.
It provides the space to show yourself and your skills.
But if someone's hiring an engineer, they're not going to look on social media to hire you.
Oh yeah, that for sure. But
yeah, go ahead. I'll give you a couple. You got 30 seconds. Go ahead.
It's okay. Let's move on.
Okay. So one thing that I will say, and this is a good conversation for young people, I think, to have, is that when you have talent, skills, and ability, social media puts you in a place where the world comes at your fingertips. But it also it has to move from the social media platform. Do your research there. Find out who's doing what. But then you have to begin to do some of the old school things, which means you've got to get some warm relationships that are started. You got to begin to make sure that those connections are intact and that you're doing everything that you can to build a presence over, greater than a cold social media engagement. You do get to put your talent out there. You can put your expertise out there. Information and how to use it is one of the greatest forms of currency. That's all we've got for today. United Shades of Gray. We'll be back next week with more conversations on race in America. God bless you all. Grace and peace.